Okay, so to make this handle, like I said, I want to make it a coil, and my clay is getting a little bit hard. I'm just kind of being it in shape here. You see I'm getting a little bit of cracking. That's probably okay. I'm not too worried about that. And I want to roll out this coil, and I want to keep it pretty even because I want this pipe to look pretty much like a pipe, you know? And I'm talking about like a water pipe, not like another kind of pipe, okay? So I want to create like a pipe. And so what I want to do here is I want to curve the pipe so that it curves inside my handle here. So I'm creating like a curve right there and a curve right here. Okay, you see I'm kind of doing that? Now this clay is a little bit dry, so it's going to take a little bit of care. The good thing about being a little bit dry is that it holds its shape. The bad thing is it tends to crack. So I have to kind of keep that in mind. So I want to make these little curved lines like fittings. And to do that, I'm going to have to add some clay. Just try to moisten this back up again because it's just getting a little bit too dry. And to do that, I'm just going to use my brush, put a little water on it. I'm not trying to smooth it. Remember, we don't try to smooth clay with water. I'm just trying to moisten it back up, and we'll let this clay kind of soak, or this water soak into the clay, and then I will be able to work with it a little bit better. So I'm just going to let that sit there for a minute. And I've told several students that when their clay gets dry, put water on it. Usually you don't want it sitting in water, so be careful about that. You don't want it to sit in water, it'll dissolve. And this clay will dissolve really quickly in water. So I'm just gonna put it there and put some water on it, let that water kind of soak in, and while I work on my little collars that I wanna make. Because I made these little collars, but they're not quite long enough. So I think I'm gonna abandon those and get another piece of clay and flatten it out, and then I'll make some new collars that are a little bit longer. So we'll let that sit there. Let me grab some more clay. This rolled out pretty good, pretty thin right there. And then I could just take my ruler, cut some of this off. There we go. I'm gonna cut another one of those little, what I call collars. Okay, and I'll just cut this end even. Okay, hopefully this softened up a little bit maybe. Now I'm going to put a little bit of water on this piece here just to keep it nice and moist. And I'm going to roll this right around here and I'll push it in nice and firmly. Before, when I did this, I didn't push it in very firmly because I knew I was going to take it off. Sometimes I will put it on just to see if I like it and not really try to attach it, just stick it on there temporarily. And then if I don't like it, I just take it off. Okay, so I got that on there, and that's on there pretty good. I can work it a little bit more. And then I need another piece like right here. So I'll cut another one. And so, you know, my idea for my mug is right here. I mean, that's the idea that I have. Now it looks that like my mug probably could be a little taller because my handle, I made it a little bit big, you know, and see how the handle kind of sticks off here? So maybe I need to make my mug a little bit taller. I could do that. Not hard to do. Okay, so maybe I'll just let it stick off for now, and then I will do that. Now, to put these pieces on here, and I know that they're not exactly the way I want them yet. There's a lot of smoothing and stuff that I would need to do and cleaning up to make this look really good. I need to slip and score, but I want to show you how to do that. So you know what's going on. So what I'm going to do with this here is I'm definitely going to score this. So I'll take my fork and I'll score this up nice and deep. Okay, and I'm going to do that here. Score that nice and deep, and then, you know, I want to have some slip on there. So I'm going to put some slip on, score it in there. Okay, and then I might want to score, I definitely want to score where it's going to go. So I may have to make this pot a little bit taller, which I was thinking is a little short anyway. So I made the handle a little bit big, so I can just make it a little bit bigger. And if that happens to you, just make it a little bit bigger. And look how deep I'm scoring on this. Okay, I'm gonna get a little bit of gooey slip here. Put that on there. And then I'm gonna take this handle and I'm gonna really press it in there. Okay, so I'm gonna press it in here and press this right in here. Okay, and you see I have it a little bit sticking off the top. That's okay, I'll fix that later. I'll make this a little taller. And I'm pressing it down really firmly. And there's a lot of work I have to do to this to get it under control, which is not a problem. I'll just have to spend some time working on it. I'm gonna clean up the slip. I'm gonna actually put a little bit on this crack. I got a crack there. Put that in there. That's perfectly okay. And I'm just gonna keep on working it. So you'll see how much I scored this, and I put slip on there in both pieces. And remember, this is still fairly plastic, and you see how much I scored it. So you're gonna want to do, you know, the same thing. If you don't, there's a good possibility that it could break right off. So you need to take the time to make sure that you score it on there and push it on there really good. And it'll be key. Hopefully you won't have an issue where yours pops off and falls apart, especially if you got hot liquid in there. And you don't want it to break, you know. I don't want you to get hurt because you didn't do a good job. Okay, so I'm gonna make sure that these are pushed on here nice and firmly in here, and nice and firmly in here. I'm really gonna blend it in there. Okay, we wanna make sure that it's on there really good. Now, don't pick this up by the handle. I know you guys are tempted to do that. You wanna pick it up. Don't do that, and I wouldn't even do that until it's fired. When it's fired, you can pick it up by the handle. Until then, don't even mess with that. Especially when it's bone dry. Okay, so I'm gonna continue to work on this handle and clean it up and attach it better. I'm gonna need to add some coils probably to this to build it a little bit higher. And I might even add a coil to the bottom and build it a little higher there, because I feel like this might be a little bit too big for the pot. The handle might be a little bit too big for the pot, so I just make it a little bit bigger. Or I could have made the handle a little bit smaller if I wanted to, but you know, I think I like the idea of making it a little bit bigger. And again, it's just gonna take a little bit of time to do this. So I will work on doing that, and adding the handle. Now your handle may not look anything like this, and that's perfectly okay. You got to make your own style of what you want your mug to look like. I decided that I'm going with a pipe theme, and so I want to make these look like pieces of pipe, and so that's why I'm doing it the way I'm doing it. But you may want yours to look like a swan, so it's not going to look anything like this, or whatever you want it to make it look like. It may not look like mine whatsoever, and that's perfectly okay. It's not supposed to look like mine. So don't do a pipe theme, since I've already done it, and hopefully everyone's doing their own thing. Okay, and so I'll continue to work on this, cleaning it up, straightening up, smoothing it up, and then I'm going to add some coils to the top here, and then I've got a nice mug, that I can grab the handle and I can have some hot chocolate or something like that. Okay. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is, if you haven't worked on the form of your mug, then you need to do it. And then if you've got the form done, it's nice and smooth and clean, the shape you want, then go ahead and start working on your handle. Hopefully you already have your idea down and you can just go with it. And if you don't, then get an idea and work on it. It's that easy. And you could try your different tools to see if they'll help you smooth it up and clean it up too. So don't be only using one thing. You can just try different tools and see what helps, what works, okay? But you kind of get the idea with this. And like I said, what I'm going to do, I think, is I'm going to add like a seam to this down the side. And I can kind of show you what I'm going to do with that. Now this needs a lot more smoothing, a lot more shaping. This is nowhere near done, so don't think it is. But I want to kind of roll along a little further so you guys can get an idea of what it's going to look like. And then next time we meet, you will be able to see it a little further along. So I thought what I would do with this is to add like a seam down here, even though a piece of pipe like this probably wouldn't have a seam, but it's kind of like the theme that I'm kind of going with, and I think I'll go up a little higher on that because I'm gonna make my pot a little higher. So I'm gonna have like a seam, and then I thought I'd make like little rivets that I would put right here, little rivets along there, that are supposed to like connect metal together. That was kind of my idea. And so I would do that, and to make it a little more interesting, to add some interest to it. I could even put the rivets on the inside if I wanted to too, because we will see the inside a bit. And I'm making sure I press this down. You notice I didn't score this one, but these are both pretty good shape as far as how soft they are, and I don't think I'm going to have an issue with that. I think it's going to be fine. Okay, so I'm going to continue working on that, and again, I think I'm going to build up another coil on here. If I wanted to, I could make it a little thicker. I could cut, instead of doing a coil, I could cut a piece of slab and do that. I could almost put a slab up there, would be kind of cool. And sometimes when you're working on it, you come up with ideas, and you're like, oh, that's a good idea, maybe I'll do that. And you just have to try it and see if you like it, if it's working for you. So I'm going to try that and see if that would work for me. If I don't like it, I can always just take it off. It's that easy. I really do like using the roller to do this. I could flatten it out, just by paddling it, but I think the roller works really good. And so I was thinking I want to continue this. And I would cut this along here. And add this to the top. That's what I'm kind of thinking. To see what it looks like, let's see, I would add it to the top like this, so that I'm adding it, you know, higher, making this higher, and make it go all the way around. But I'm gonna need a much longer slab than this to make that work. So I'm gonna have to add some more clay here, blend these together, and roll it out. And hopefully it'll work for me. Just push that, roll that out a little bit more. And I've got some other scraps I could put on there too. Or, you know, if I want to grab another piece of clay, I can. I can add some more clay to that. And both of these are pretty plastic, so I'm just kind of putting some water on there and then pushing them together and blending them together. I can take my knife and kind of blend them. And then I can continue rolling. Now, if you have a nice big piece of clay, you wouldn't have to do this, but I kind of want to use these little pieces I got. So I'm just kind of rolling them all the way through here. Okay, and then from there, then I can cut this the size I need, get it a nice straight edge. And right like that. And now make it maybe this big. Looks good to me. It's pretty good. Let's cut that off straight. So I might be able to add this to the top here. Just like this. Make it a little bit taller. I could probably add coils to it if I wanted to do coils instead. But sometimes I like just to add a slab on there. And then I might make this part of the design, this actual slab part of the design. You know, maybe I'll make it a slightly bigger so it looks like a collar of the pipe. And so that's just what I'm gonna do with that. And you can do whatever you want. I mean, you guys are the artists here. You gotta figure out what you wanna do. But you can see that I'm kind of adding this to the top. Okay, and I'll work on this some more. I know it looks a little rough now, but that's okay. It looks rough at first and then it gets better. So that's perfectly fine. So I will add that, blend it together, and then I'll probably score it. Since it's a pretty big piece, I'll wanna score it together and put it on top of here and make it a little bit bigger here. Okay, so I'm gonna do that. So what I want you guys to do, continue working on your form. Once you get done, work on your handle and you know, see where you're at